Let's get back to Australia's rather delicate relationship with America and its President Donald Trump. As we told you yesterday, though Trump called Anthony Albanese a fine man and that he would consider Australia's plea for relief from tariffs on steel and aluminium imports, as we also told you yesterday, what was said in the presidential proclamation about aluminium, in contrast to suggestions Australia will get relief, there's something else. In that proclamation, there's this line about our aluminium exports to America, and it simply says Australia has also surged, that's in production and exports, and in 2024 was approximately 103% higher than the average volume for 2015 through to 2017. Australia has disregarded its verbal commitment to voluntarily restrain its aluminium exports to a reasonable level. Well, Dianne Tipping is the chair of the Export Council of Australia and founder of Excon International, an export management consultant. She spoke with Ed Boyd just a little earlier.
Obviously, there was a tariff applied against all countries again back then. Our then Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, negotiated with the President and was able to get a nil reduction, a total reduction in the tariffs for Australia. There is discussion happening now that there was a verbal agreement, I should say, not a written agreement, that there would be a limit on how much product would be able to go into the USA under that agreement, under that negotiation. However, reading through a lot of information over the morning, there does not seem to be a verbal agreement. But again, I wasn't at the table. I don't know if there was a verbal agreement. No one's really sure at this moment, except one area is saying no, there wasn't, and another area is saying the US is saying there was a verbal agreement that we would not increase our exports to any high levels. But I would dispute that they're high levels anyway into the USA.
Yeah, that verbal agreement around aluminium seems to be a bit of an X factor that was dropped late yesterday by the US administration. A verbal agreement's always hard because usually there's no record of a verbal agreement, is there?
First law of any agreement is to put it in writing. So, and look, a bit of background to that. Currently, Australia, if we look at steel into the US, we're not even in the top 10 of exporting countries that go into the US. In aluminium, we're number 9. We're way below the other countries and Canada is 40%. Significant amount of aluminium is 40% of the market, or the product of aluminium going into the US market. So I'm not sure how these percentages are really adding up. But again, not party to the considerations that they feel is how it's increased a lot. It has increased. Let's be honest, our exports of aluminium have increased to the USA, but it's only 1% of our export totals all up, and we're not, as I said, number 9, so we're not anywhere up near the high levels of the other countries.
Yeah, I think steel and aluminium, we've got bigger markets elsewhere apart from America. Yep. But back when those original tariffs were introduced in May 2018, Trump basically waited 2 years into his presidency before introducing them. Why do you think he's going so much harder, so much faster this time around, that is round 2 for presidency?
I think there's a lot of reasons. It was a mandate that he was voted in on. He was very clear that he was going to do this right through his leading up to the election. He was very clear that he was going to impose tariffs. He has America has a aluminium industry that is not doing as well as it could. They're importing a lot of product, and it's not just that industry. I think his mandate is very clear that he wants to build up internally, build everything, make everything, do everything in America, and this is part of the plan. Go fast, go while he's still very popular, and make this happen. Let's see what can come out of it. That's the view.
Yeah, and I believe these tariffs will be introduced on the 12th of March, so that does give Australia a bit of time, I guess, to lobby behind the scenes. I mean, what do you think's going on right now between Australian and American trade officials?
I wish I knew, but I would say they're negotiating. And look, to be quite honest, any negotiation let's be very frank about what a negotiation is. A negotiation means that you give something to get something, and you might all end up happy with the result, but I don't know what we're going to give to get. And that's probably a good point to think about. I think what we really need to consider here is that Canada is in a far worse position than we are at the moment with their exports. As I said, they're the highest, 40%, significant amount of aluminium that goes into the USA and other products. Obviously, this isn't just about aluminium overall. There's a lot of tariffs coming in on a lot of products, I'd say. But the issue is that where is Canada going to sell that product if it's not going into the USA? Where are those other 8 countries before us going to sell their product? It's going to affect global supply chains. It's going to affect where people buy that product from in the future. And that is probably even a bigger question and a bigger concern.
How are your members feeling right now with what's going on between Australia and America?
Well, very concerned because we don't have a clear understanding. I don't think anyone has a clear understanding of where this might end up. We have now not just a country that is imposing tariffs and then threatening to impose more tariffs on products, not just Australian, but across the world, which means other countries, and I mentioned that earlier, other countries are in the firing line as well, and they're going to be looking for the same markets that we need to look at. We need to diversify. We had COVID. We had anti-dumping claims against us in Australia. We've managed to find a lot of new markets, but we need to continue to do that. We need to continue to go into areas such as South America where we haven't really pushed a lot in the past. We need to look at where we can sell our product, not just America. That doesn't mean we walk away from America. The other thing we need to consider here is that we have a relationship that goes back a long way with the USA, and I hope very sincerely that relationship proves to be still a friendly one going forward. We have trust and we feel very, very secure with America in the past. We have always done that. We have a relationship with Five Eyes. We have AUKUS. We have the Quad. We have foreign policy that works with the USA very strongly in all of that discussion. I hope that this is considered as part of the discussion going forward between their president and our Prime Minister. I hope that this is part of what is considered when that negotiation takes place. Well,
Dianne Tipping, Chair of the Export Council of Australia, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.